As the Hanson Dorset rowing season moved into the 5th regatta of the year, it was Lymington's turn to host the regatta. The organising of the regatta started weeks ago and the final preparations began on Friday night. Members came down to the club in force and the large numbers made light work of loading the boats and loading the other essential equipment that host clubs had to organise, like marquees, generators and the various refreshments. Everyone involved in the regatta then met on Milford beach at 7 a.m. to begin setting up the regatta for a 10:30 start. Members then split into groups. Some were set the task of rigging boats, others set about putting together a regatta control or the refreshment marquee. The last group to arrive were the members entrusted with bringing across the safety ribs and laying the buoys. Anyone left over was on sponsorship duty. Lymington then went about putting the final touches on the regatta by setting up a tent for the members' kit, shifting the minibus and arranging the refreshments. The other clubs from around the association soon arrived and the Red Rose-sponsored Milford regatta got underway. Lymington had a successful home regatta, picking up 4 wins and a host of top 3 finishes. The big win of the day was an important one for the men's Junior 4 crew. Lymington were 3-1 down to ride before the race, but they were backed up on Saturday by a B crew of reserve rowers. The A crew marched away from the competition and picked up the vital win after a dominant performance. Ryde had a poor row, finishing 7th and losing out to Lymington's B crew. A special mention goes to veteran rower Simon Wright. The over 50 competitor put in an impressive performance with the B crew against rowers over half his age. Another important win came for Chris Schreiber in the senior scull. He was also 3-1 down going into his final, but he proved he was the better sculler in the rough. He beat Richard Hume of BTC and teammate Geoffrey Fryer to pick up the win. Both the Junior 4 and Schreiber are now only 3-2 down in their championships. Lymington's 3rd and 4th wins came in the veteran categories. The Lymington veteran over 40 crew, who had been racing with BTC's Brian Edwards all season, finally picked up a win. They were pushed hard early on but rode away on the return leg of the 1800 metre course.
Well done. Cheers. Last but not least, we'll do that. And you're going to have that one? Yeah. Okay.
The final Lymington win of the day came from the veteran 40 pair of Tim Bull and Alan Taylor. The duo were to race a veteran 50 pair from BTC, which included Brian Edwards. BTC were given a 20-second advantage at the start of the race. Bull and Taylor managed to catch the BTC pair and rode through to take the win. Lymington picked up a number of 2nd and 3rd place finishes throughout the day. The men's Junior 4 split into 2 pairs. Stroke Joe Ball teamed up with Stuart Pink, while club captain Richard Wadsworth joined B crew rower George Verdon. Championship leaders Westover took the win, but Wadsworth and Verdon were right on their tail for 2nd. Bull and Pink managed to hold off a challenge from Paul to secure 3rd. The senior pair of Geoffrey Fryer and Chris Schreiber couldn't pick up another point in their senior pair championship. They finished 2nd, but rival Itchin were 3rd. Westover won the race, meaning the championship will remain at 2-2 until Cole Porter's in 2 weeks' time. Mike Leyland-Jones returned to action in the Junior Scull and finished 3rd. Tim Bull teamed up with his son Joe and daughter Livy to race the Dave Stafford Challenge alongside Andy Tobin of the Vet 50s. They managed a 4th place. Lymington's growing novice squad were also in action. The men's novice 4 picked up Lymington's first win of the day, but the race was only a heat. The debut crew had a decent final in tough conditions, but couldn't manage a top 3 finish. Of the 3 ladies novice crews competing, 2 were racing in their first races. It was the more experienced of the 3 crews who progressed to the next stage. The crew had raced together at Ryde and Itchin, but their final was ended prematurely after a member of the crew picked up an injury. So with 4 wins at the home race, Lymington finished joint first with Christchurch in the aggregate trophy, and the regatta was ended with a kiss.
Thank
you all again, see you next week.
Next up, Lymington's 4s travelled to Christchurch.